Hi, and welcome everyone to the spring job offer webinar of 2024. Thank you for being here on a Friday afternoon, at least in Central Europe here. I understand I haven't met with all of you before. I have met some of you guys one-on-one so far in the last couple months since taking over for Chris. Want to start by saying again, thank you for coming and happy International Women's Day. It's a sunny day here in Hamburg, so that is good. And we're going to just go through some numbers about what it's looking like in the German job market. I'm going to keep it light and fun, so grab your tea, a coffee, even a beer on a Friday here. Maybe you're in Germany and you have the holiday, maybe not, and it's super early in the States, maybe too early for a beer. But in any event, just get comfortable and we will keep it fun, but also go through, again, some data for you so that my goal is you leave here with at least learning one new thing about what it's going to take to get a job in Germany. Hi, Shakil, in the chat. And let's start off. Everyone say where you're listening from today. That would be fun. Let's see where people are coming from. You can put it in the chat. We have a moderator. And let's see. Hi, Gabriela aus Berlin. Leipzig, schon. Aus der Türkei. Bremen. We were in Bremen 3 weeks ago, actually, not far from Hamburg. I liked it. It was bad weather, but it's also a Hafenstadt. That's cool, like a old harbor city in the Hanseatic League for Germany. Another from Turkey, Merhaba. And I'll just give it another minute or two because there's more and more people joining. Everyone comes last minute to these things, as I do as well. When I join other webinars, I totally understand. Hello, Daniel. Hanover, cool. Haven't been to Hanover yet. Okay, so we're just a few minutes in and some more people have joined. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Understanding everyone will probably be around for 30 or so minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. No rush, but we'll see how we go. And I've got some things prepared for you that'll help your search coming into Germany, or if you're already here in the competitive market, getting into a new job. I think it's fair to start off with a bit about myself, just maybe a minute. So those who haven't met me before, or you're like, hey, who's that guy who's been emailing? Where'd Chris go? Or if you just started following in the newsletter in the last couple of months, then maybe you didn't even realize. But so Chris ran Immigrant Spirit for 13 years, and he created it out of his home city in Dusseldorf. And then just in January, I took over for the program. I was a client of Chris's back in 2021 for the winter course of the intensive course, Get a Job in Germany by Christmas. So my story was that I studied in Berlin for 3 months in university, decided I really wanted to go back and live in Germany. So I'm originally from Seattle in the US. And yes, you're probably wondering, my name looks German. So my grandfather is Swiss German. So that's where the name comes from, Kocher. But so I grew up in Seattle, and then I decided after studying I wanted to go back to Germany. Had to work a few years in the States. Then I decided to come back to Germany in 2021. I made the decision. So I was applying for jobs for about a year into Germany and couldn't get anything. It was frustrating. And then I found Chris, an Immigrant Spirit, on on the web from a Google search and decided to enroll in his course. That was in 2021 in the spring. So I was an early enrollee for the winter course. So after a year of applying to jobs in Germany, then I joined Chris's course. And 3 months later, I had my job offer. So I was super happy with what Chris did, his work, the course that we followed. And so it left an impression on me. And so once I got to Hamburg, so now 2 years in Hamburg, and I'd stayed in touch with Chris. Turned out Chris was looking to become a writer full time. So he said, Kevin, I'll actually sell you the business. So I decided already, because I was a client, that it was a great opportunity for me because this is still fresh for me. I know that it works because I did it myself so recently. And I really want to help others do the same because if you're in Germany right now, you know how things are breaking down a bit. There's a lack of labor and there's plenty of openings and we need international workers here. And you'll see in the presentation, I've got a bunch of numbers on that. And plenty of media are always asking about it. Where is the workforce going to come from? And it's you guys. So we'll go into that. Again, I'll share you some numbers. And that's just a very brief overview of why we're here, why it's important, and this is super fresh for me. So I'm really excited to 2 months in now to get started, and we already have a course going that you probably know about. So let's I'll just cut into the presentation. Okay. So again, I already gave a bit of an overview of how I came here 2 years ago. This is a picture of myself, and this is Hamburg. And if you know about Hamburg, it's got the most bridges of any city in the world. So there's one there, and a lot of water and canals, which is really cool. And let's go further. Okay, so we're in Germany, so we need a little bit of a structure to what we're going to talk about. Although it doesn't, we can go off script and anything that's coming from the chat, we can talk about that comes up. But in general, I'll just give you a very brief overview of what's going on in the market. I'll share some trends, graphs, insights, quotes, any information that you need right now that you can grab on a Friday, learn something new, and take it with you. Then we'll look forward, what to expect this year. We're already 2 months gone. Let's look forward, what's positive coming up. And then I'll answer your questions in a Q&A, last 10 minutes or so. And then I'll have an announcement as well about the current course going on. And I'll answer your most pressing question from those who signed up. So whoever signed up already, you know that I asked for your biggest challenge. And so the results were in for that. And it turned out that it was how to get into an English-speaking conversation with the hiring manager. Very important. And everyone wonders, yeah, this all sounds good, but how do you actually do it? How do you actually convince a German hiring manager to speak with you in English? So hopefully that'll be answered by the end of this. This is a picture of my map here, actually. So let's go further. Okay, so this is Institut Zukunft der Arbeit. This is about the German job market. It's a source that tracks since 2014. It's looked at the health of the job market. So I'll just explain to you what the left gauge is. So this is overall, what is it like with unemployment right now and people losing their jobs? Actually, it's a little worse than average since 2014. So there are layoffs going on. There are a good amount of people unemployed. So there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people looking for something new. If you followed the blog, you know that, and you followed the newsletter, you know that this has been the case the last few months. The middle barometer, it's talking about overall, the market is actually neutral. So COVID, Corona times, it was horrible. You can see on the graph. But overall, it's actually near the middle. So it's not the worst and it's not the best. So that's where, looking at the third part, actually the job outlook overall is a little bit better. And I'll show you something very important at the end about that showcases why that's the case. there's something super interesting that happened just last month in the number of jobs created in Germany. So, in general, as you probably know, there's a ton of change going on in the world, more than ever. Whether it's geopolitics, whether it's technology, artificial intelligence, there's more changing at a higher rate than ever. So, companies in Germany are feeling this. Germany's in the middle of Europe, and companies are exchanging employees. People are looking around, seeing if they can get better benefits. So companies are getting fit again. So they're cutting down their workforce, cutting costs. And so this leaves a lot of people moving around in the workforce. So this is why there's openings right now, but there's a lot of competition. I'll show you more on this in the next slide. That's the highest overview look about the German job market. If you've been following the newsletter, if you've been following Immigrant Spirit the last 10 years or maybe a couple years, I don't know how long you've been following, but it seems that it's always something on technical jobs, right? So especially now, AI, coding, cybersecurity in the last 2 years. These are huge areas of need in Germany. If you have project management skills as a soft skill, it's highly desirable right now. So the classic ones, if you're a technical person, if you have coding experience, if you have software development experience, and in particular, these are good skills to have. People are looking for them. There's a lot of openings. But where are these skills actually being applied? Which industries? Most in logistics right now. So this is in German. This stat is from Agentur für Arbeit. This is the latest month. Where are the most openings? In which industries? Number 1 is logistics. Number 2 is sales. So if you have these technical skills and you're looking for a logistics job, or you're looking for, say, sales job, medical job, if you're looking for a engineering job, mechanic job, electrical engineering, these all have a lot of openings right now. And I'll show you again at the end something very interesting that happened just last month that didn't happen since July of last year in the German market. That's positive. So there's hope. Again, this is super high level before we get down into what it means for you. This is what's going on right here. I have the entire top 10 list, by the way, on the website, and I posted it on LinkedIn. So you can see this list in English as well. This was my interview a few weeks back with The Local. So The Local is an English-speaking broadcast news firm actually based in Sweden, but they have one for Germany. So they want to know, just like everyone else, how do you get a job in Germany when you don't speak German? Because, as you know, we're all coming from a lot of different places in the world. And how many people grow up speaking German as their mother tongue? There's 3 or 4 countries, I believe. So the likelihood that you're going to meet someone that's from somewhere else is super high. Actually, it's 1 in 5 or sometimes more in certain places in Berlin or in Hamburg. And I'm sure in the bigger cities in the West and in the South as well. But so learning German takes time, and it's still possible to get a job if you're learning German. The key is that you need to show that there's an effort, that you're doing it, and that you can at least speak with someone in the office in German. It doesn't need to be completely fluent. If you're not C1 in German, if you're not C level, it's going to be hard to get a client-facing job if you need to speak with clients on behalf of the business. But if you show a willingness and you're at a high intermediate level, so in the B levels, and you show that you will learn German on the job, you need to convince a hiring manager that you can do this, that you are already learning German on your own, and you will continue to do so until the end of training when you will be hopefully fluent. So that's the biggest issue, and this is what the local wants to know about, and everyone is companies are wondering, how can we hire someone who doesn't speak fluent German? What are they going to commit to on their side? So, if you don't speak C-level German, there's plenty of English companies in Berlin, specifically startups. More on that to come here shortly. I'll give you some resources for that. But further, actually, Munich in the south has plenty of research-based jobs. And industry jobs, and it's actually a growing tech scene in Munich. Of course, Hamburg with logistics, and North Rhine-Westphalia as well. But I'll show you more about where to find these companies that are hiring in English right now. I'll provide you with that resource again in case you didn't get it already from our newsletter. So this is what all the media is wondering about, whether it's the local, whether it's Wirtschaftswoche a few weeks ago. They're asking these questions. So, like I said, put it in the chat if you haven't gotten this already. This is a PDF guide that we created. Right now, it's at 138 companies in Germany that are hiring right now in English. So, again, if you don't have this, if you didn't get it from our website, from the newsletter, because it's always the first thing that I give out. When you sign up for my newsletter on Immigrant Spirit, and Chris for 13 years was the same way. We always give you the companies that are hiring right now in Germany. So you can go simply to their LinkedIn page on the right. You can look at the jobs that are posted. And by the way, always go to the company website as well. So first can go to the LinkedIn page, look at the jobs that are posted there. That's the most common and most expensive place to post jobs. But then some companies only advertise on their website, and I'll show you that as well. But also, good job boards right now are Glassdoor and Otta. So if you don't want to click on LinkedIn here, or you already looked on their website, go to Otta and Glassdoor. Use it. These are good job boards that people are posting on right now. So B, yes, I see in the chat you didn't get it. We'll send that to you right after this, okay? We'll send you we'll message you privately, anyone else, and we'll get you the PDF right after this. Okay, just a couple more graphs, more information, and then we'll get into more Q&A in just a short bit. So if you read the blog post a couple weeks ago that I wrote in the newsletter and in the email. So really interesting statistic is that since 2015, every single year, the highest method of people getting a job in Germany is by personal contact. So personal referral and personal recommendation. So that's personaliche Kontakte on the top. So 37% Stellen besetzt haben. That's 37% of people are getting the job last year when they reach out for a recommendation or referral. Internet job boards are second most at 20%. And the most people, Personal gesucht haben, the most people are looking on the homepage, which is a good idea. So I get a homepage, that's 65% of people are looking there, which is good. You should. But only 14% of the people actually getting the jobs got it from the homepage. So think about this. Almost 1 in 4 people getting the jobs last year in Germany, that's 37%, almost 40%, are getting it from personal recommendation. So getting a referral from someone inside of the company. So super important right now. That's even more important this year. You have to get a recommendation. It's not impossible if you just go to the social media page or homepage or job board, any of these other ones here. But best chance is you get a personal contact. It's been that way like this, by the way, since 2015. So wanted to show you that statistic. Okay. So what do you do with this? What can you possibly everyone knows that you need to get a recommendation, or you should by now, because it's been that way, like I said, for years. So how do you do it? Because if you've tried to do it on your own, it can be difficult sometimes to reach out to hiring managers, especially German hiring managers, and straight away convince them to hire you or at least speak with you on LinkedIn in English. They can give you some backlash. They can say something to you in German that you don't understand, or they can just ignore you because they don't want to speak English. Even typing English sometimes can be annoying. So anyone who's tried to do it on their own, you know that it can be not the easiest thing to try to just approach someone random, a hiring manager, and get a referral. So this is also from the local article that I showed you earlier, and this came out a couple weeks ago. I can also send that to you after this if you need it. They're asking about how do you do it? How are people actually getting jobs right now in the competitive market? So my tip is, given that I'm a career coach, is that, and I know from experience, right? Because it was just 3 years ago, I was exactly in your position watching the webinar. And so I learned that you need to get some inside help. So that's what I'm doing is I'm an ally of yours. I walked the path myself. You need an ambassador, someone who speaks German, to introduce you to the hiring managers. So this is super important right now. You need to find someone who's on the inside, who is your friend, your ally, who can speak for you, speak to the hiring manager in their language, get you into an interview. Because two brains is always better than one, obviously. And even better if you have someone who's gone through the same way that you have. So that's just a bit of information about what we're doing. Again, if you didn't hear earlier with Immigrant Spirit, this is exactly what we're doing is we're helping to get you into the hiring manager interviews before you apply. And this is the last number, I promise, is that so this is from Bundesagentur für Arbeit. So this is from the German job board. This is from the agency of work. So what this shows, what I told you earlier, there was something that happened for the first time since July of last year. What was that? The job posts in Germany went up. The available number of jobs, they were going down. So there was more people being unemployed, and there were less jobs being created, less open jobs every month, month after month after month after month, until February. Now there was just more than January. So there is good news. There's just over 706,000 open positions right now in Germany. And again, how do you go about doing it? Guys, trust me, you need to get someone who's a mentor or someone who's on your side that can get you into the conversation with the hiring manager. And for me, that was Chris 3 years ago. So then I got the job in Hamburg. Chris wrote a referral for me after I got the job. He was kind to note about how when I did it on my own, I was getting in touch with 8 out of 10. 1 week was 8 out of 10 hiring managers were responding to my LinkedIn messages. So the average, and right now, and over the whole program, my average was maybe 4 out of 10. But think about it. So 4 out of 10 people right now, hiring managers, responding to your request on LinkedIn to have a phone conversation, to have an interview before you apply. So this is something that I'm pretty good at. Chris was also really, really good at it as well. Obviously, he did it for 13 years. And then once you're in that first phone call with the hiring manager, you can ask the appropriate questions that you need to, which, by the way, I'll coach you on what those questions are. And then you can very quickly break down the barrier so that you can get into the important parts of your future job and you don't let the easy excuses get in the way. The easy excuses that happen when you send your CV or you send your cover letter, and they can very easily peg you as different and not worthy of even a conversation. So when you have someone like me or Chris reach out on your behalf, who's in Germany, who knows the process, who can speak the language, then this you can ask, you can, and I'll tell you something also that's interesting that just happened with our ongoing program on the next slide. But is this really works, guys? It's worked for years and years and years, and this is why I was comfortable leading this year in the program. Okay, so we're through with all the numbers, I promised, hopefully, and I see some things going on in the chat here. We'll get to your question here just in 2 minutes or under. So the announcement that I wanted to make again, and thanks for going through with this today. Hopefully it wasn't too much bland data, but I know on a Friday you guys have plenty of places you can be, and so I really appreciate you being with us today. Is that so in our intensive course, you guys may have known it started 1 month ago, and it happens every year, biannually, so 2 times a year. And we take 8 clients. Chris had been taking 8 clients once, and then 8 clients again in the fall, like I was. So we have a group of clients going right now. 1 client already got his job offer, so great news. It already happened a little over a month, so super exciting with that. And that's in the testimonials section, by the way, on the website, if you want to look at that. And actually, so this is exciting because that means that there's another place that we'll be working with, because we're only 1 month through, essentially, of the course. And given that it's 1 month through the time and that we had a spot open up by someone already getting a job, I'm going to offer the next, as you know, the prices that have been on the website, if you have seen already, for the intensive courses. I'll give the next person that wants to join us I'll give 10% off for just today. So until tomorrow, that's my offer for whoever wants to join us. For hopefully working with you every week until you get the job. And you can ask me any questions here on the next slide, but 10% off to the next person who wants to join us for the course. So promised that it wouldn't just be a bunch of graphs. And I know I sent the invite to you who was kind enough to sign up ahead of time. I gave you about a 30-minute block, so if you have to run, I want to answer your questions, most importantly, so we're going to leave this part open as well. And if we have 3, 4, 5 questions, we have some more time, I'll get into what you guys wrote in the biggest challenges, which number 1 was, how do you actually get into an English conversation with the hiring manager? That's what the most people wrote was their challenge. So I'll look in the chat here. Okay, yeah. Hello, aus Hamburg, Mongi. Sunny in India. Hi. B, we will get you B and Sunny, we will get you the PDF for the companies. Again, anyone who joined late, you're following the email clearly, but if in case you hadn't been on the website or you didn't get it from the email, let us know. We'll get you the PDF list that we update regularly. It's always the first thing we give to you. And that's right now at 138 companies that are hiring with their company website for LinkedIn. So you can go directly to the jobs that are posted there and find the English ones. Okay. Yeah, B, danke. Fun with cooking. Hi, aus Hamburg. From Delft. Hi, B. And Sunny in the chat. How does Chris and now you approach the hiring manager to recommend someone? Okay, and yes, Sunny, I can answer your question right now. I'm not sure if you're gonna jump, but let me answer it because it was the most anyway written in the forum. So what do we do? What does Chris and I do? So right now, with our current clients, every week we reach out to 10 hiring managers. Me and you, we split the difference. So at the start, I can reach out to some half of them on your behalf to approach them either in German or in English. And people know about Immigrant Spirit, by the way. People know about the brand of Immigrant Spirit. Chris has it. Chris has a great reputation from his years of doing it. I already have been connected with all of Chris's contacts in the media and plenty of people from LinkedIn that I've given interviews to. So people recognize Immigrant Spirit and they recognize when someone is trying to help a colleague who can fill their job requirements. So we teach you how to find the hiring manager behind the job because maybe you don't even know what's their title. How do you find the people on the internet? How do you write them that's appropriate in German culture? What questions, because you get a limited message on LinkedIn. Anyone who's written someone, when you add them on LinkedIn, you know that there's a limited amount of words that you can use. So you have to be very clear with your questions and precise about what it is you would like to discuss and when you're going to have the conversation. So you need to take charge in your message, and we'll show you how to do this. And we do it every week. So as long as you can find the jobs, which will help you do as well, 5 to 10 a week, then you do this over and over and over. You get so good at it that, again, after 3 or 4 weeks of us doing it together, you should be getting 3 out of 10, at least, hiring managers responding to you every week for a phone call. And this is without even applying. And then we'll go further into applying once you've had the conversation and you can specifically address the conversation that you just had on the phone. In your cover letter, in your CV, it is about the phone call that you just had with the hiring manager, where you already just talked about the 3 most important questions that you ask. And this is super important, as you know, and if you've done it before, you know that this is great because then they actually know that your CV is coming. And actually, a lot of the times, the hiring manager simply says, oh, there's the CV, there's the cover letter. Yeah, I just spoke with that person. So if you're HR and you get this, and the hiring manager says, hey, there's a guy or a girl that's going to be sending their application. I just spoke with them on the phone. HR is not going to just throw away that CV at that point. So if you just give them your CV without doing anything, then they can judge you. But if you already spoke with the person higher than HR, and then you apply, HR has no choice but to give that application to the hiring manager because you already spoke with them. Unless you're not qualified for the job, then the hiring manager says, you know what, they're just not qualified. But as long as you're qualified and you can do the job, you get passed through. So looking at any other questions in the chat here, hopefully that was helpful. That's the most questioned challenge from the forum. Okay, hi B. Okay, from Netherlands, great. Super. Hope to work with you, B. There's more information. We'll post more information on that. And again, it's Immigrant Spirit /Miracle or Immigrant Spirit /Summer. for getting a job by summer. That's the course going right now. It goes till the end of June. So go to that link there. You'll find the information again today until midnight. That's for 10 and a half, let's see, sorry, 11 and a half more hours. Then it'll be 10% off. So let's see here, more in the chat. And guys, thank you so much again for coming by. Like I said, I hope that at the very least you learned something new about the German job market that you can take on a Friday on International Women's Day and have a whatever you may be doing, work if you're not in Germany or if you're in one of the other cities that doesn't recognize it, or if you're having a day off. And so hopefully it was somewhat beneficial. And just going to answer a few more questions in the chat. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Cassie. It's great that you have contacts in the media. However, after only 3 years in Germany, how many hiring managers do you actually know? Yeah, it's a good question. So one can imagine when you're coming to a new country and you've now been there for a few years, then it takes time to build this big book of business or a wealth of contacts and connections. So there's nothing that you can do about that. With time comes more integration and more contacts. So yeah, there's no lie about it and no reason to beat around it in the sense that I've been here for a few years. So there's the contacts that I have so far, which thankfully, given that now 3 years after with Chris, applying to 10 every single week for 3 months. And then I did the process again last summer. So that was 10 a week for another 3 months when I went into a new job in logistics in Hamburg. And then another in the last 2 months, I've connected with, I think, 200 more people. And some of, as you know, on LinkedIn, sometimes they're more casual and they're not as serious. But oh gosh, yeah, the number of hiring manager discussions at this point, whether it's 3 years ago with Chris and I together, whether it's last summer with Chris and I, and then me doing it on my own, and then the last 2 months with me, the media, and then with the current clients right now, the four, and the one that already got a job. I don't know how many exactly, but it's a good amount for someone that has only been here for a few years. So that would be the honest way to think about it. If you can imagine any of you, spending a few years here, getting as many contacts as you can, but it's still obviously to be improved, which it's good that Chris and I are meeting every week. So Chris is living in Spain now. For those who didn't hear earlier or who just joined in the last couple of months following Immigrant Spirit, yeah, Chris, who built the business and ran it for 13 years in helping international professionals, including myself, move here. He is now writing his book. So he and I are still meeting every week to make sure the business is running smoothly and the contacts are properly arranged. And so he is working that role with me. So this should help understand that there is these connections still going on with employers and with hiring managers. So hopefully, Cassie, that answered it. Happy to connect with you personally as well on LinkedIn or wherever. Feel free to email me or LinkedIn, and we can go further on it. But we're at just about 39 minutes or so since we started. Happy to stick around and answer anyone else's questions. That's just about what I wanted to talk about today. And yes, I will, with our moderator, keep an eye on any more of the questions for maybe just 2 more minutes. Anyone in the US? Anyway, I thought there was a few people that signed up that were coming from the West Coast, but maybe not. Maybe it's too early. Don't think we have any more questions. So, guys, again, really happy that you were able to join today. We went a bit over time, but no problem at all. And happy to be here. And hopefully, it worked out with everyone's schedule. Again, super excited to announce with you guys that we have still the course going on, and one gentleman was already happy enough to get his job offer. You can find it in the testimonials on the website, and I would be happy to welcome the next person who wants to join with us in the hunt. And again, my number one goal for this was that you at least learned one thing new from the data about Immigrant Spirit or about myself to make you more comfortable with working together in what we're doing with giving you guys some resources so you can get a job here and things can run more smoothly, and it helps the economy that there's a ton of openings right now. And if you live here, you know that we need more workers. And so all the best. Thank you guys. Hope to hear from you personally. Add me on LinkedIn. Keep following the newsletter. Refer someone that needs it. Bring them into the newsletter. We'll give them resources on it. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Bye bye.